What up, America? Welcome to a Better Black America podcast, the number one urban podcast stateside and worldwide. Now, today is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. Now, happy summer to you. Summer has begun. We took our little spring hiatus real quick, and we're going to be working all the way through the summer because we have to stay in front of this because we see these grand distractions trying to distract us. And I'm going to go ahead and just say on the Better Black America podcast, we keep it 100. And I say when we keep it 100, clearly that means we talk about the truth. And now we're dealing with the absolute truth in racial matters and racial equity, because a better Black America is really trying to seek out solutions and resolutions to create not only a better Black America, but a better America for everybody. Because we know that the Black race has been America's good economic for all this time. And we have a grand reaction. We have a reaction to everything that's going on. The mass shootings in Buffalo with the 18-year-old drove 200 miles and murdered Black people at a Black grocery store in a Black, ethnically Black community. And then the president goes out and talks about racial issues and evil won't win. But that's a lie, because evil won the 2020 presidential election. Yeah, the lesser of the two evils, but we're not going to give them too much energy. But then another shooting within a week down in Texas. But in this situation, it was a Latino kid who shot up a school full of Latinos. No racial issues there. So now they want to talk about gun control. But the last time that I checked, no gun has ever done anything to anyone or anybody. But people kill people. Guns don't do anything. And guns has been around, and guns is the fabric of this nation. So therefore, why can't we have comprehensive laws and legislation to at least control the portion that the government can control? But what it looks like is that the government is continuing to play this game like they have nothing to do with all of these things that's going on. There's been reports that a lot of those weapons that was left in Afghanistan have come back in this country unmarked, unchecked through the southern border. Because for whatever reason, the Biden administration, or I would say the Democrats, decided that we don't need a southern border, not even in the times of pandemic, not even in the times of fentanyl drugs coming into this country and fentanyl deaths being amongst the highest it's ever been in the history of documenting deaths by pills. The drug game is crazy. Rail cars are getting robbed. We're sending billions of dollars overseas to foreign nations and foreign countries. And we have to guess and wonder what's really going on. Because the last time something like that happened, it was kind of like the Jews were being genocided. But this is a Christian on Christian, white on white situation. And every time they show Vladimir Putin, I hate to say it, he has Black Jesus, Black Christ, and Black bishops and everybody that's Black on his walls. Maybe Putin knows the truth about humanity. Maybe the humans are starting to step up and say, let's get rid of the subhumans who are destroying this nation, because some reason they have decided and figured out how to control. Because it is so sad to talk to a human, especially a Black man, and the first thing comes out of his mouth is, I don't think, because you don't believe, because what's in you is not the good stuff. A lot of our youngsters have been built on the wrong stuff. A lot of our baby boomers have been built on the wrong stuff. A lot of our Generation X, all of us have been built on the wrong stuff. But it's time for us to get the right stuff. It's time for us to get the right stuff in our life. That's that good stuff, that good. So now it's time to reject evil. We have to reject evil, because evil is not allowed in our house anymore. And when I say evil is not allowed in our house anymore, our bodies is our temple. So if evil knocked on the front door right now, I'm not letting evil in. If evil came down to the studio, evil came down to the office and wanted some smoke, and I see evil outside, what's up, evil? Oh, no, we good, we good. So if I have to come outside, I'm not going to let evil in my house. But if I go outside, evil going to get dealt with. And this is how we have to deal with demonic forces. This is how we have to deal with the Democratic Party, which means ruled by the devil. Why do you think the federal government is separating itself from the entire Democratic Party? Why do you think all of these things are popping up, issue after issue, situation after situation, bomb after bomb, mass shooting after mass shooting, threat after threat, homicide after homicide? Nancy Pelosi's husband getting pulled over for a DUI. Missed it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spill the beans a little bit. But like I said, we took our little spring break. OK, now in the summer hiatus, we're working through the summer. We're going to be proactive and not reactive because the devil is chasing us. So if the devil is in you and you the devil, then that's something that you got to deal with. But if you are a man of valor, a woman of valor, that's living above the poverty line. When I say the poverty line, I mean the fleshly line. Below the fleshly line or below the poverty line is where we deal with flesh and blood, fighting, ignorant, stupidity, misinformation, malpractice, disinformation, disrespect, killings, murders, homicides. But when you deal above and live above the poverty line, when I say above the poverty line, I'm talking about above the spiritual realm where we're dealing with flesh and blood. We're not dealing with that. We're dealing with powers and principalities that motivate the flesh and blood. So now we get to think like gods. And the only way we can think like gods is if that we become the gods that we are. And use that number one, which is knowledge. And that number two, wisdom, which means we figured out how to use this knowledge. Because it seems like everybody know everything when we're having a conversation, but don't nobody know nothing when it's time to make a move. See, we're making a move. A movement have to move on. And we have everything we need. And we know that they're listening. We know that they're paying attention. We know that they're taking notes. This is why they're confused. This is why they don't know how to control the narrative when it comes to the party that's ruled by the devil, the Democratic Party, demo in Spanish and Portuguese. And we know without a shadow of a doubt that we have an association with the Portuguese because the first transatlantic slave ship was documented on record as a hijacked, stolen by buccaneers, docked in Jamestown, Virginia, where the first 20-odd black Negroes arrived into this country. So how do they get in front of this? How do they get in front of Jim Crow Joe? We know who he is, but he was a lesser of the two evils. He said evil will not prevail, but clearly evil won. So how can we, as living souls, living vessels, gods of this universe, niggas, kings, rulers, emperors, sovereigns, with that spirit, how can we associate ourselves with a party that fought against the Union to preserve slavery, a party that fought against the country to make sure that they had a criminalization clause in the Constitution to make sure that they don't lose their good economic? And we fast forward this thing to today, mass incarceration. The 13th was the greatest and the best depiction of the criminal justice system. Go check it out. It's on Netflix. So if you're not a book reader, go watch a documentary film and learn. Because it's not time for us to be arguing with our brother. Because clearly we are no longer, we have never been, what James Baldwin's book said, we are not your Negro, but we are not our great-grandparents and our grandparents and our parents' Negroes. We are the children whose purpose is to change the game socially and economically by making a move right now on the federal government in support of the entire black race so we can stop dealing with racial matters, put a G in front of race, live under God's grace, and participate in making sure that we have our own safe communities. We have our own thriving schools. We have our own booming economy where people are coming into the black communities all over this country to get quality jobs. So we're going to tackle this and we're going to be in front of it. You never seen it before. We never seen it before, but we have in the history books. And we're going to use our history. We're going to use our past. We're going to use our ancestors to tap into the spirit of the race, which is the spirit of God, and rise the whole race above this poverty line. When I say poverty line, I mean above the line of wrestling with flesh and blood. So we're going to be dealing with killers. We want to know who has a mind like Cain. You know, Cain and Abel. Cain killed his brother in the Bible, but Cain was casted out of the Garden of Eden and dwelled in the city called Nod, where he found himself a wife. And that's where a lot of our enemies come from. That's where our brothers come from. The ones that don't want to know the truth. You tell them a little bit about themselves, and then they say, I don't want to hear it. That's what you think, because they don't want to be found out. We got career agitators walking around. We got career people that walk around like shitty cuz who killed Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace, neighborhood. People like that. Their whole purpose is to make sure that they do some terrible things to stop the entire group from moving forward. But in this situation, we're going to seek them out because it's misinformation, disinformation, all of that. You see it on Facebook. You see it all over the internet. This is why when you go to my Facebook page, you don't see me having too much dialogue, because I'm a real one. And I ain't trying to, pull up on one of these busters or custers that, they so gangster with their fingers in text. But when you see them in public, they ain't got nothing to say. So I'm saying real men stand up. Real men don't make excuses. We figure it out. We adjust, because God's calling us back home to lead our communities, to lead our families, to lead this next generation to the next frontier. Because Dr. King saw the mountaintop, and we about to start building on it. Yeah, that's right. Dr. King saw the mountaintop, so we about to start building on it. We're going to live on it in heavenly places, like on earth as it is in heaven. So with that being said, welcome to the Better Black America podcast, the #1 urban podcast stateside and worldwide. So keep tapping in, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go to a Better Black America TV on YouTube. Subscribe there. Google my name, Bushawn Glover, and go ahead and subscribe to all my social media platforms. And believe me, God is in the business of winning. So we about to win, and we already won. We just got to claim our victory, because America would never be a nation if it never declared. And as you can see, they declare victory, but they're still dealing with a personal problem, an in-house problem. But this time, they ain't going to be using no Negroes, because we ain't no niggers or Negroes anymore. We niggas, kings, rulers, emperors, sovereign. With that being said, have a great day. This your man, Bushawn Glover, a Better Black America podcast, the #1 urban podcast, stateside and worldwide. Peace out.